It's the PHNX Coyotes season preview. I'm Leah Merrill here with Craig Morgan and Steve Peters. We're going position by position, previewing what the Coyote season is going to look like, which, you know.
On the topic of what this Coyote season is going to look like, there seems to be some disparity of opinion. Actually, there's a preponderance of opinion. And there's this one outlier.
Preponderance?
You don't like that term, Petey?
No, I'm just Googling now, so go ahead.
Oh, you're looking up the definition?
Clearly.
Okay. So pretty much all the sites that you'll look at out there that are modeling what the NHL standings are going to look like, whether you look at The Athletic, you look at Hockey Viz, you look at JFresh, who does a great job, they're all having the Coyotes, somewhere down here in contention for the top overall pick. But then 538 came out with a prediction.
Yes.
Yesterday? Go ahead, Leah.
Yes.
You have the floor.
The 538 model of the 32 NHL teams
Model
has the Coyotes at 22 with a 37% chance to make the playoffs.
How many points?
It doesn't say
88.
on this one. 88.
88 points.
88 points from this.
That's an impressive season, 88 points. Like that's the last 5 years. You'd say going into it, you got 88 points. You go, oh, we could be fighting for that last spot in the Pacific at 88 points.
And I was thinking, how did they do this? And I clicked on they literally said, this is how we came up with this. I made it through 2 sentences. There was literally math on the page. There was math. And I said, that's too much for me. It's a no. But I was shocked.
This is where I'm going to go with analytics on the show. We're going to talk about it over and over again over the next 82 games on where I stand with all of analytics. It's a part of what you have to do when you talk about hockey. Advanced analytics are here to stay. It's going to have to be a part of it. But when you see this kind of model building and putting this much applied math to it, and you go, the Coyotes in 22nd? What? How?
Yeah.
Like I don't. Did they not watch a game?
How
yet?
is they based
See a
on
roster?
50,000 simulations of regular season
My
and
son can go
playoffs?
play
It's a team
NHL
model, as I was
21
told. I'm not
and
going
come up with a
to
Stanley
name
Cup
names for the critics with whom I spoke, but it's a team model that, as someone said, apparently didn't take any of their players into account.
Yeah, I don't mean to make this much fun of it, but 22nd, isn't that about where they finished over the last decade from the time they were, the 2012 playoffs to now? That's probably their average.
Yeah. I
just don't see it on paper. Again, maybe they know something we don't know about how the chemistry and Andre Tournier and who's coming at the trade deadline. I guess maybe we'll be, praising them come the end of the season.
got a segue for you here.
Oh,
I've got a segue.
I had one too, but you go first.
Oh, I want to hear your segue, and then maybe I'll just be quiet.
I was going to say, speaking of taking players into account, that is what we are going to be doing today.
If we're talking about the strength of this team and the way that they might be able to succeed, we might as well talk about their best position group, and that is
the defensemen.
Indeed.
All right.
We needed a theme for that. That was a perfect time to hit the sound.
We can put it in post-production.
Okay.
All right, let's kick it off with Jacob Chikran. He's look at that hair. So good. He's the backbone of this team. He's the one that there's no question he's part of this, the future of this team, part of the rebuild.
Maybe the only one.
Maybe the only one.
He's the only guy not available in the offseason.
Yeah,
so.
Craig, for many players on the wings and the centers, their best case scenario involved them being traded at the deadline. This might be one of the few in which that is not on the table. Jacob Chikran, also someone we've talked about possibly becoming captain down the road, but regardless, has a leadership role on this team. Where should we start with Jacob Chikran?
Most likely to go out to dinner shirtless.
Okay, that's something I didn't know.
Have you seen his videos on his training videos?
Yeah, I've seen
on
the
TikTok
training
and stuff? Good grief.
I thought you didn't have TikTok, Petey.
I don't. I just want to sound current. But I actually saw him on YouTube. But the kid's unbelievably fit.
Yeah.
He is prepared and worked very hard for this season. He took a lot of accolades because of his offensive prowess last year and his ability to score and be on the power play. And expectations are extremely high this year. And if you take last night's preseason game as any indication, he took 9 attempts at net through 2 periods. That's impressive. But every time the puck got on his stick, he felt he needed to shoot the puck. There was no playmaking. There was no passing. I don't know if he's taking the whole team onto his shoulders, thinking the whole world, and it has to be me, and I have to score goals. I hope that there's a mix, because he's going to have to be able to make plays too. He can't just shoot the puck all night long. And as we've said over and over again, he's going to have to improve his defending and read of the rush from where it's been the last 2 seasons if he truly wants to be a Norris Division candidate. I think he can do that. I think this is the season where he steps up. I think he is going to be one of the most dynamic defensemen in the league this season. Unfortunately, I don't know how many goals this team will score, so I don't know how many points he will be able to attain. Yeah, that's going to be the difficulty. Yeah. But he is clearly an elite defenseman right now. Puck moving, his ability to shoot the puck, his ability to run the power play. He is going to be the elite piece of this Coyote puzzle for this season.
And that is why his best case scenario is tops 20 goals and 50 points and becomes a legitimate Norris Trophy contender. But his worst case is that he can't produce enough points on a team without offensive options and languishes for 2 years in relative obscurity.
And that's, we talk about that too. It's who's his partner going to be. And I think that last night he played a little bit more with Connor Timmons.
But Stralzy was out of the lineup.
Stralzy.
Speaking of nicknames.
Stralzy out of the lineup. So Connor Timmons couldn't provide the same support that an Anton Strahman could. That partner is going to be so important to the progressive, the progression of Jakob Chikran and how he performs this season on the ice. I hate to put that much on a guy, but Anton Strahman can take that. We'll talk more about him later, clearly, but he's an experienced guy that's been in the Cup Finals, can handle that load. But Jakob Chikran needs to take another step forward in this season.
In spite of the challenges that we talked about with this roster. NHL nickname, it is Chick. Everybody calls him Chick.
That's an easy one.
Chickaboom.
But I would love to hear a
Chickaboom would work, actually.
I know.
I like that.
Yeah, as another t-shirt.
Okay, thank you.
Work on
another t-shirt.
Work on that.
I would love to hear from you, Craig, what you think his nickname should be.
Well, I'm not wed to this, and I actually like Chickaboom. I was hoping, Petey would bring the fire.
But again, that dates us. That was a Johnny Cash album.
Yeah, but nobody knows that. You
Chickaboom is just a phrase that you can also say.
Okay. I had El Pollo Grande.
the
chicken. I'm going to stop now. You guys don't like that one
big
at all.
Chicken?
You don't like that one at all. Big Chicken. Fun fact about Jakob Chikran, switching gears here. His dad, Jeff, a great guy, by the way, is part of the broadcast team for the Florida Panthers with former Coyote Ed Jovanovski, also played in the NHL, played for 4 teams, Philadelphia, LA, Pittsburgh, and Edmonton. One of the good guys, Jeff Chikran.
And you talk about one of our other preseason shows when we talked about centerman and the Schmaltz trip, 2 hours to play. Jakob Chikran flew from Florida to Detroit to play junior hockey.
Yep.
So that's, it's not a 2-hour car ride. He had to get in a plane to go play games with, was it Little Caesars? Is that who he played his junior hockey with?
Trying to remember if it's Little Caesars or
CompuWare.
CompuWare.
One of the two. Yeah. But that's, you're flying a kid in to play junior hockey? That's impressive.
Well,
that's dedication.
Oh, and one other thing that we've talked about this week is we've talked about the Olympics. And first, I'll apologize for an earlier show where I talked about them naming just 3 players. Apparently, every team named just 3 players. I wish somebody would have told me that.
Well, it wasn't. The other teams hadn't
done it yet. Yeah, I know. So I looked bad. But the Jakob Chikran, Craig, you probably can give a little more insight on this too.
Little Caesars, you were good.
Born in Florida.
Yep.
An American by birth. If he were to play in the Olympics this season or be considered for an Olympic position, he would play for
Canada.
Do you know why?
I do.
Could you tell us why?
Not yet.
Okay.
But it'll be a story if it comes to it.
There's a tease right there.
Wow, okay. I'm intrigued.
It's not a happy story. USA Hockey didn't handle it so well. So, anyway.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move on to
Anton Strahman.
Jakob Chikran's presumed defensive partner, right-handed veteran Anton Strahman, whose nickname, sadly, is Stralzy, but also Mr. Casual.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, that was one that stuck with him in the past, and I like that too because that's the sort of vibe
suits his role here.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want in his role here. It could be Sherpa too. For his role with Jakob Chikran, it's very important that he leads him, down the development path. And when I look at Strahman, I think he's the most logical guy for this pair. He brings all those elements that we just talked about. Maybe his game was in decline a little bit, so you got to keep an eye on that. You have to watch where his game is, and I don't know that they have a suitable replacement if he's not ready to handle this job on the top pair, because I really don't think Ilya Lyubushkin fits in that role either. Maybe just in spot duty. I don't think Connor Timmons is ready for that role. So it becomes a complication if he's not ready. But right now, I think he's the best case scenario for them on the top pair.
Yeah, I don't know where they go to if he gets injured or he can't keep up with Chick. Luckily, I think through preseason he has. And I think even with the Florida team that he played last year, he's still playing 18 minutes with a team that made the playoffs and is still going, in the right direction, Florida. The reason they had to get rid of Strahman, he made too much money for a guy they didn't think could keep up with their pace of play. They're one of the fastest teams in the National Hockey League, the Florida Panthers. Anton Strahman just didn't fit that mold. They liked him, played big minutes, good leader, great on the ice. They needed to move past him for the amount of money they were paying him. So for him to come to the Coyotes, well, he's still able to put up those kind of minutes, and he's going to have to eat a lot of minutes because Jacob Chikran's coming over the boards a lot. So he's going to eat a lot of minutes for this team. He's going to have an expanded role from what he had last year. And I think, honestly, he's shown he can do that. And the other thing Chikran hasn't had in last year with Goligoski was the right-left matchup.
Yes.
And we talked about how much more and how much easier it is for a right-handed defenseman to feed a left-handed defenseman on the point. I think that's another advantage for Chikran getting more time with the puck. So I think Strahman's going to be okay taking a backseat to Jacob Chikran. He gets it. Like, he gets what his role is going to be. My role is to help this kid get better. It's not to light up the scoreboard. I'm going to defend, I'm going to back him up, and I'm going to get him the puck.
Yeah, and looking at him, I mean, he's played in big games, too, as I mentioned in the fun fact about him.
Which I don't think is a very fun fact.
It's not a fun fact, but the fact that he got to the Cup final in back-to-back seasons with different teams, the Rangers and Tampa in 2014 and 15. He lost both times, yes.
The not so fun part of that fun
but
fact.
he did play in big games. He's had a lot. He has a lot of playoff experience.
Like Marian Hossa did that.
Probably won't matter. Well, Marian Hossa ended up winning Cups though in Chicago.
Yeah, that's true.
He kept moving around, just missing, didn't he? Until he didn't.
Yeah, until he got to Chicago. But back to the topic at hand here. When I look at Strahman and I look at Chikran's progression, he lost Goose. Are you going to allow him to lose Strahman after a season 2? And how much does that affect Jacob Chikran if you keep changing his defense partner? Could Anton Strahman be a guy who's here for a couple seasons because you want some continuity next to Jacob Chikran?
Yeah, I think we're going to see how the year progresses. I think it's probably a little early to speculate on that. I think you're right. And I think we keep saying they need 20 players to play. You can't trade away everybody if they play well because you're going to have no players. So absolutely, he's a guy that could be here.
Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah. A year from now, I think he could be. But then you've got to look at where's Soderstrom in his development. Is Connor Timmons ready to take on a bigger role? Is Lyubushkin still here? There's 3 right-handed defensemen right there. Rarely do you see a right-handed defenseman playing on the left side. Incredibly rare. So you have to kind of wait and see where the season plays out. I think it's a win if he can stay on that right side on the top pair for a couple seasons.
All right, let's move on. Shane Gostisbehere.
You take this one, Petey.
Shane Gostisbehere, coming over from Philadelphia, nicknamed way too easy because it's Gostisbehere, so it's the Ghost Bear, or just simply Ghost. And you'll hear that a lot. Another T-shirt, the Ghost. Beware of ghosts, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, and I think that has to be his nickname, right? As we're talking about nicknames. The big thing we're talking about Gostisbehere is a guy that needs to find a home where he's welcomed. And I think that's been what the Coyotes and Andre Tournier have provided early in this camp. He's played often. He's played a lot of minutes when he's played. He's played offensive side of the puck, and he's been on the power play. The exact role they anticipate and need him to play this season. Look, he's a left-handed defenseman. He's going to play behind Chick. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
So he's going to be on that second pair. He's also probably, if they stick with 4 forwards on the power play, he'll probably be on the second pair, the second power play unit, depending on how they set up their power play. But early in camp, I tell you what, he's been offensive. He's been able to get the puck up the ice, and he's done everything that he's been asked to do and was expected to do in Philadelphia, just didn't do. I mean, the last 2 years in Philly have really been a struggle for him. High draft pick, first-round pick, moved the puck well, skates well, just tailed off there and didn't fit into Alain Vigneault's plans in Philly, and has really tailed off. And I don't think he was very happy, and the organization wasn't happy with them. And we've seen when a player can go from a situation that they're not well-liked to a situation where they are well-liked, they can perform above what their expectations are. And that's what I expect with the Ghost. I think he's going to have a good year here, and I think he's going to be relied upon to play a lot of minutes, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, and as we said at the top of the show, defense is the strength of this team, and clearly there's some deficiencies elsewhere. But if things pan out the way they want them to pan out on their blue line, they could be really solid on the blue line. Those top two pairs could be really good, and then you've got a third pair where you're floating the two Russians and Kyle Capobianco. You could have a pretty good blue line for an NHL blue line.
There's a lot of experience there, and there's still some guys developing. Yep. And when you go 1 to 6, there are going to be teams that have really strong top pair, but don't filter all the way down to the bottom. I think 1 through 6, this is a pretty good defensive lineup.
Yep.
For sure. Also, his fun fact I think that's a really cool fact, actually, he is the top point producer among Florida-born NHL players, and Chikran is the second.
Yep.
And what other team has 2 Florida-born NHL players?
Exactly.
And I love that, especially, we talk about Arizona and hockey in the desert and just the whole Sun Belt thing. I love that there's Sun Belt-born players representing on this team.
That's deep dive research, Craig.
Yep. Wow. It was a long day.
Oh my goodness. All right. Connor Timmons.
Okay. I'll take this one. His NHL nickname right now is Timmy, which is not bad. It's not great, unless you say it like they say it on South Park.
Yeah.
But what his nickname should be, it should be the Piano Man, because apparently at a Sault Ste. Marie rookie presentation, all the rookies had to sing. Apparently he performed Billy Joel's Piano Man exceptionally well. So
did he also accompany himself on the piano? Do we know?
I don't know. I'm going to have to dive into this story.
Because if he does that, that's even more impressive. And then we will need him live in studio.
Yeah, we'll have to get
Can we rent a piano?
Can we get a baby grand in here? Can we fit in this space?
There we go.
Play?
There we go. Where's that budget?
Oh, Jacob.
We need the buttons up here. Can we get buttons?
So you could play while he sings. We could do Billy Joel's Piano Man. I'm here for that.
Perfect.
I want to see that.
Who's playing the harmonica?
Are you offering? No.
We'll find someone. That's a fantastic fun fact.
So I'm really interested to see what Connor Timmons does. Obviously, a part of the Darcy Kemper trade, they also got a first round pick, but they got Connor Timmons, a really interesting right-handed big defensive prospect. Hasn't solidified his role in the NHL yet. We've talked about this, Petey, but there's a lot of potential here. This guy was a very high prospect at one time, and listen, Colorado didn't want to lose Connor Timmons. This one stung, as we had AJ Haveley on the show, and he told us this one stung Colorado. They did not want to give him up, but they had so much depth on their blue line that they could afford to do it. So the Coyotes have a really intriguing prospect. Best case scenario here, he takes advantage of this opportunity and cements that second pair role next to Gostisbehere. Worst case scenario, he could still struggle to be in the lineup on a regular basis. So we'll see what comes of this, but he's going to be given a really good opportunity here.
But again, he's 23 years old.
Yep.
And I think what Coyote fans, I want to make sure we temper the expectations of Connor Timmons just a little bit. I know he's highly touted out of Colorado. They would love to have him, but they have a plethora of offensive defensemen in Colorado. He is probably the piece that got the Kemper deal done. I know Kemper was sought after by several teams around the league, and the prospect addition of Timmons is what got the deal done. So we're great to have him here, a right-handed defenseman with skill. Having said that, he's played 33 games in the National Hockey League. He's yet to have his first goal. Let's pump the brakes a little bit and let him find his way. Like, he's going to get ice time. He's going to play. He's going to move the puck. He can skate, but he is not near what we talked about with Chikran yet. He's not there. Like, he's going to need some games in this league where he has a bigger role to play than he did when he played in Colorado. He's going to be expected to do more here than he was in Colorado, but I don't think it's going to happen in October of 2021. He's going to take some time to be the player I think we expect him to be long term. So when we talk so highly of Connor Timmons, I want to temper it a little bit with it's not quite yet. He's still developing. He's still got a long way to go to be the premier right-handed defenseman that this club wants him to be.
Well, it's a good thing that we have time for this team until they need to be that success that we all want them to be down the road. Luckily, the expectations aren't too high this season. All right, Kyle Capobianco. That's a great name.
It is.
It's a very good name.
Leah, why don't you take him?
Nickname, Capo.
Too easy.
Too easy. What his nickname should be? Copacabana?
That's my
I
opinion.
like it. I like it.
Have a little song.
I like it.
It's
Again,
the music theme
Jacob
position
on the piano
breakdown
again.
here. Yeah,
I like
I
it.
really
yeah.
thought you were going to start singing, and I got
I'm not going
excited.
to sing
Okay,
Copacabana.
that's a bummer.
I can, by the way. I know the words.
So we know what's on your Spotify now.
Yeah.
No,
You had
it is
Billy
not on my
Joel and
Spotify.
Barry Manilow.
I do not have Barry Manilow.
Age appropriate.
every
Wow,
time
it
you
is.
just are bringing up age.
Gonna
All
have-
right.
Petey, we're going to have to visit HR when we're done here. All this age is
Fair.
Oh my god. Fun fact about him, his uncle is Randy XLB, owner and founder of Behind the Mask, which is a staple here in the
Yeah, and played for the Phoenix Roadrunners.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a
a
goaltender.
that's a
Well-known fixture around all the arenas in the
that's a funny
greater
connection.
Phoenix metro area.
That's a crazy connection.
We could have Randy on at some point. He
Yeah.
can tell us his brush with fame playing in an NHL game.
Well,
Edmonton?
I don't want to break. I don't want to conclude
Yeah,
the whole
it's-
story now
Yeah,
Well-
because he tells it so well. But yeah, Behind the Mask, I think everybody who follows the Coyotes know it's a pro shop. There's multiple locations around the valley. It's a good spot. We should actually do a remote from Behind the Mask. That's my opinion.
Well,
But Capo, back to what we're here for.
Why are we here?
Yeah, he has been a player who's been in the All-Star game in the American League level. He's been elite, standout, offensive, gifted defenseman in the American League. That when you watch them play down in Tucson, you notice him and you go, "Wow!" Like he is that good down in Tucson. Like he's exceptional. He has the puck in Tucson. Like he is elite player in the American League, and he has not been able to translate that here when he gets called up to the big club. He's been hurt here, and that I think didn't help his progression and probably set him back a little bit.
Yeah, the ACL injury.
Yeah, and it was a big injury that
Yep.
it took a long time to recover from, and he just needs to get over the hump because the tools are there in the toolbox. The kid can play. It's just hopefully, I don't know if it's the speed of the game or if it's nerves or what's happening where he hasn't been able to translate it here to the NHL level. If he can put it all together, he's going to be a good defenseman in this league. Now, do I see him being a Jacob Chikran Norris Trophy guy? Let's pump the brakes again. I don't know that, but I'd like to see him be an everyday defenseman. The skill level is there. So I hope this is the year that he transitions. Unfortunately, he's hurt again.
Yep.
And he hasn't been able to play these preseason games that are so important for the development of a young player. And that's too bad.
Yeah. At the same time, I think with their situation right now, when you look at the depth chart, they can keep him around. He doesn't have to go back to Tucson. That'd be the worst case scenario, probably for Kyle Capobianco. He doesn't want to go back to Tucson again. As much as he's dominated down there, he wants to be here. But if you're going to keep him here, and I've said this before, I kind of think he has to be on that third pair. You don't want him just hanging around as a number 7 defenseman who's not in the lineup regularly, because that, again, doesn't help a guy's development. And he is a left shot, so he can play opposite Ilya Lyubushkin, and maybe you let Vladislav Provolnev be your number 7 guy as he learns the North American game, the NHL game.
And then if you talk about that, Craig, you look at that left side, Chikran, Gostisbehere, and Capobianco. You have 3 incredibly offensively gifted puck-moving defensemen on your left side. That's impressive. Like to have that deep of an offensive threat from that side of the ice. You're going to want the puck in that side of the ice as much as you can when you're breaking out of your zone. So you're going to force dumps to that side. So it's going to be interesting to see how Coach Chernier adjusts their neutral zone forecheck to accommodate dumps into that corner of the ice so those guys can carry the puck up the ice.
Well, speaking of Ilya Lyubushkin, let's
He's next on our list.
Let's bring him up. NHL nickname, Bush, or the Dancing Bear.
Boosh.
Bush.
But
Bush.
Yeah, I should have spelled it with 2 O's.
Bush.
But I'm going to
Bush.
say...
I'm also noticing all the typos in my notes while we go through this, by the way. So
I have.
you guys
also
haven't said
noticed-
anything, so thank you.
Yeah, I have not.
Yeah, you're
I'm
not
so
Petey.
tired
I'm
of
not
every
calling
calling
people
out
out for their typos.
being called the dancing bear. I'm so
Yeah,
tired of it.
I'm
Just because you're
over it
from
too.
Russia, no more dancing bear.
Okay, well, I have to say the correct suggestion
my
for
nickname.
what his nickname should be is so good. The Moscow Mule.
Now that's better.
That's so
That's a good nickname, huh?
Much better.
Better
Is the
than Bush.
Applause, please.
Yeah, applaud worth it.
I
You
said
need-
Bush. I meant Bush. Sorry.
It's okay. I spelled
Oh,
it
look,
wrong.
now he changed the spelling. Wow.
See?
Moscow
I'm on a
Mule.
live document here,
That's
correcting
good.
all my typos as we go.
Oh my goodness. His fun fact, which is also
Not
not
fun.
fun.
A fun fact.
Gosh, you nailed this one, Craig.
But it's- But it's a
Debbie
It's how
Downer.
about a fact of
it's
note?
a poignant.
A
Yeah,
fact,
it is.
a notable fact,
Debbie Downer.
is that he began playing for oh my god,
Yaroslava
Yeah,
Lokomotiv.
in the season after the plane crash killed that entire team tragically.
2011. I wrote a story about that recently.
Yeah.
He got his opportunity really because they had a draft. The KHL organized a draft where you could take a player from every team, and he got selected from another program. He'd never been to Yaroslavl. He grew up in Moscow, but he ended up in their system. And man, can you imagine coming into that organization
what a horrible
in the wake
story.
of that? And that, if you know about that town too, hockey team was everything to that town. It was just so much a part of the fabric, and you literally lost every member of the team that was on that flight. So he stepped into that. He talked about how powerful it was and how you felt an obligation to perform every night for that city. Yeah, just a crazy story.
A horrible way to get your start.
And Dave King was coaching over there, former Coyote
coach
Dave King. He was
also
coaching.
Part of your story. And he's it's unfortunate that's how he got his start. But I tell you what, he's endeared himself to this group inside the locker room. When he first joined the team, his English was borderline at best. He worked very hard to learn the language and try to fit in. But his personality, he is so well liked. He does everything for the team. He's a team first guy. He's protective of his teammates on the ice, and he fits in the locker room off the ice. I expect him. He's an 82 game player for me. Like I see him in the lineup every night. He's been in and out in his whole career here. I think this is the time he steps forward now. His physicality is going to be much needed. He's got to protect the guys we talked about on the left side. You're going to need that physical presence. And let's see if he can get on the score sheet for the Coyotes. He got taken away. The one he got last year.
Yeah,
got taken
and he
away.
Scored in the preseason.
Yeah,
right after I dropped his stick.
Oh yeah, that's right. And that became a thing. And
he did. He asked me to drop his sticks before every game, but it didn't work. There's no correlation.
Yeah, but he's another guy who really likes playing here and has embraced the Arizona culture and loves the city, and another guy you root for. And this is part of the thing. I know it sounds repetitive, but that's how this team was able to perform as well as they did in the preseason, because they had guys like this that played for the team. And so I'm excited to see what he can do for the Coyotes this season.
Definitely. And his best case scenario would be that he climbed into a top 4 role with his physical play, mobility, and puck moving skills. His worst case scenario is that he remains a bottom pair player, but like we said, there's a lot of depth in this position, so it's not even the worst.
Yeah, and you remember he had moments that he played with OEL that OEL had some of his better games when he was partnered with Lyubushkin. So I think that his ability to, when there are injuries, he will play up and down this lineup.
All right.
On our last guy?
Last guy.
I should point out that we don't have Victor Soderstrom on this list. I still think he's headed to Tucson, but we'll see. He's a possibility. I can't see him cracking this lineup. I think is much better for him, but he's a possibility to get some games.
Agreed. And in the preseason, we've seen glimpses of his offensive prowess. He had a good, outstanding goal early in preseason where he drove the middle lane and finished a outstanding offensive rush for a goal. But there were times defensively that he was probably just a little bit overmatched, that he'll need to get stronger and more accustomed to playing with bigger, stronger guys. And I think he needs the development.
And that bigger, stronger guy, the reason they got him is because he's a big, strong guy, is Vladislav Provolnev. I'm not sure what his role is going to be. As I said, he could grab a third pair role alongside countryman Lyubushkin, the 2 Russians on defense, lefty, righty. You'd have that split, or he could find himself in that number 7 role where he sits some nights, he brings you a physical presence on other nights. But he's an interesting signing as well, a little bit older, played in that rookie tournament, and man, he laid out a couple guys in that tournament where you're like, wow, this is literally men against boys. It almost felt like he was out of place there, but he wanted to get his feet wet, and that's the reason they put him in the lineup. NHL nickname right now, Provy. Not good. Somebody suggested Provolone. I'm not sure if that works for me. I mean, it's the name of a cheese, but I don't see the connection.
But then
otherwise.
That's how those nicknames should evolve. So his nickname should be Cheesy.
Cheesy.
So it evolves.
There
so
you
it's
go.
not Provolone, because that's hard to get out. Cheesy. That makes more sense to me.
I love that.
And then you
like
explain
cheesy.
it because provolone. Anyway.
That's a good one.
Sorry.
Fun fact about him: his greatest mentor is former Coyote Danny Markov, who you know very well.
I tell you what, of all the Russians that have been through the Coyotes organization, Danny Markov is still my personal favorite.
Yeah,
his personality lit up the room.
Bush.
He's a fan. And no knock on
I like
a
Bush
lot
a
of them
lot,
that
too.
have been through here.
Lovable guy.
But Danny Markov was a unique individual in his personality. He was quirky. He was funny.
Yeah.
He was happy to be in the room every single day. Great guy. That's it.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
That's all we've got. In fact, we have touched on all the defensemen now, and we're through another position group. Well done.
And we'll see you on the next show.
Yep.